Hello, this is episode 2 of Dark Movies with Friends. I am your host, Scott. I am so excited to do this. I'm so excited you're here. Let's get into it. Hey, everybody. I'm so glad you're back. Episode 2 for this podcast, Dark Movies with Friends. Episode 1, I'm glad it happened. I'm glad it got out there. I did it quickly. I did it on an iPhone. I did it with a broken microphone at first, and then I did it just simply on the iPhone. I figured it was better to get my voice out there and get an episode out there to get the ball rolling, as I've learned that is becoming the hardest part of any new thing that you try to dive into in life. Getting the ball rolling, taking that first step is probably one of the more difficult things to do. With that being said, thank you so much for the feedback I got about episode 1. I figured out how to get it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. I figured out how to make some version of Instagram presence. So I'm very, very grateful and very, very appreciative of everybody who listened and gave it a shot. Episode 1, I'm hoping to do hopefully 10 times better than episode 1 here for episode 2. But I'm also learning that too, that in time it will just get better. And you kind of reap what you sow. So if you do things quickly, you get what you get. And I did that episode pretty quickly, and it was just to get a good intro in there and overall positive feedback, and I'm excited to be here. So I'm very excited about this episode specifically for 2 reasons. One being I actually get to dive into a movie, which is what this podcast is about. So it's the first legit movie review episode beyond the intro episode. And 2, it is about the Blackwell Ghost, which is probably, if not my favorite found footage horror film, in my top 3, definitely my top 5 out of hundreds of movies. So this one is definitely up there. I was asked several times by several people, why am I not going with one of the big names first? To me, in the found footage world, the Blackwell Ghost is a big name. So as I get into that, I want to tell you kind of what to expect moving forward here, and then kind of lay out how the episode will look, and you could fit it as you feel the need as you're planning out your day. If you want to catch a couple minutes here and there, if you want to skip certain parts, because I will probably have some spoilers in here. This podcast is definitely geared towards people who are interested in watching the movie, but also people who loved it and want more of sort of a deep dive. And I hope to give that to you because I learned a lot too watching and through research of this movie. The expectation is I'm going to give a movie synopsis. We're going to discuss the planning and prep kind of the movie, any media, any marketing they did, some fun facts that I found, which is pretty cool, tips on how I would watch this movie, including a ranking that I give it. Spoiler alert, it's one of my favorites, so I guess you can imagine what I might rank it. And we'll wrap up from there. I'll kind of maybe tell you where I'm headed moving forward. But I'm really excited overall, and so excited that you're here. Let's get into this movie, and you decide if it's worth a watch or not. How about that? All right, so I'm going to do a somewhat of a movie synopsis. I don't want to be the boring Wikipedia page, but I'm going to give a run through. This will probably include some spoilers, so if you don't want any spoilers, this would be the time that you want to skip for the next little bit here. But if you're okay with spoilers, which I always am, actually, this will be fun to listen to. So, in the beginning, we meet Turner Clay. I feel that he is the classic underdog character, okay? He says he's a filmmaker. He's made zombie movies. He's really into horror movies in general. He's never got into documentaries. Documentaries? Am I saying it right? Documentaries. Documentaries. I'm going to start using that now. Documentaries. He's never made one. He's kind of into them, but he wants to start researching if ghosts are real. So he has a simple quest, kind of prove ghosts exist. Okay, he's switching gears. He wants a challenge. He's kind of bored of his old life. We learned that he's married to a woman named Terry. They live in Kentucky, and as a filmmaker, he's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. Does he keep doing the same old thing, or does he move towards bigger, greater things? So I think first fun note of the movie is that this is labeled as a documentary. This is not labeled as found footage. This is not labeled as mockumentary. This is not labeled as anything fictional. This is labeled as nonfiction. And almost everywhere you see it, research it, everything else. If you Google the Blackwell Ghost, not only will you not find a ton on it, other than Reddit and people talking about it like I am right now, you will not find much on the movie at all, other than where to watch it. And by the way, I'll add that in too. I watched it on Prime. You could watch it on Found TV, Tubi, Prime. I'm sure other places. I think some people said it was at one point available to stream on YouTube. And I'm talking about the Blackwell Ghost 1. We will get into the fact that there are 8 movies currently, and Turner Clay is currently making a 9th installment of the Blackwell Ghost. So not only is it gaining a cult following, I don't see much of an end in sight. Okay, so, and I'll get into more of that. I really want to stick to movie number 1 because I feel like if you latch on to movie number 1, there's no way, with the way this story goes, you don't at least want to dive into maybe movie 2 and 3. And then that quickly leads to all 8 in my book. So, Turner Clay, classic underdog story, wants to change his life, switching gears. He wants to start making movies about ghosts, paranormal activity, things like that. He wants a challenge. Well, he gets a video sent to him about a hotel and a ghost video of a ghost that is visible on a hotel security camera. And this is sent to him by a mutual friend, and maybe they learned that he was into the ghost hunts. They obviously knew he was into movies, zombie movies, things like that. So they sent him this. So he's kind of weirded out that he got it in the first place, but he kind of gets why he got it. He tries his best to debunk this story. He calls the guy up in the video. He's working real hard to debunk it. You can't really prove it, but the guy says something poignant. He says, even if I can absolutely prove this, there are still a large number of people who will say this is fake. And Turner Clay agrees to that. He goes, absolutely, that makes sense. Even if I go, this is a ghost right here in front of you. So many things could be fake nowadays. That being said, he still goes, he researches it, he wants to meet this guy. It kind of fizzles out. He states in the movie, maybe I should get back into zombie flicks. I'm not so sure about this. I've been working on this for weeks. I got nothing. Well, come to find another I guess I kind of lost track. I watched this movie about 4 times, 3 times for sure through, maybe a 4th time occupied. But this man contacts him about a possible ghost in Pennsylvania at a house. Well, and I'm not really sure his connection with this man. Maybe he put out on forums and things like that he's interested in paranormal videos. Please send this number, whatever the case may be. We're not really told much of that. There's a lot of cuts from that, but he gets this video. Again, he contacts this man in Pennsylvania after the hotel ghost fizzles. He contacts this man in Pennsylvania about the ghost, and he makes a plan to go see this man. All right. This is where we learn that Turner Clay is a pilot, which is fun fact, low-key flex, that all of a sudden he goes, I can be there from Kentucky in a couple hours, and he gets in a plane with his wife and flies to Pennsylvania. So they meet and talk to this man. The man says, I believe his name is Greg in the movie, Greg. Greg, the homeowner, first of all, he's very weird. He's this weird, oddball guy. He doesn't seem paranormal or anything. He just doesn't seem like an actor, which kind of fits the movie. He's a random guy who goes, hey, there's ghosts here. If you want to come check it out, come to my house. So Greg is talking to Turner and the wife about the house, the activity. He's saying there is activity daily. It's all the time, almost all the time. The lights flicker, steps up and down the steps. There's activity in the basement. Turner is overly excited. You can clearly see that he's not looking at any bad warning signs. He's going, cool, there's ghosts in here. I need to be here. The wife is kind of iffy. Like, are you listening to this guy? The homeowner says to Turner and the wife, hey, I got to take you to the basement. I'm going to tell you something, but you can't freak out. This is the first time in the movie that you have any inkling that it's like, could be a horror movie. This to me is more along the lines of a slow burn, like mystery, paranormal mystery, but definitely this part right here is where it could be horror. Dun dun dun. The owner takes him downstairs and there's a well in the basement. Apparently a lot of these old houses have wells that they used to hold the main source of water for the house. Well, come to find that a crazy woman who once lived in this house, maybe 100 or so years ago, the stories show that she killed many of the neighborhood children, cut them into pieces, and threw them down into this well. And that generated all kinds of urban legends about this story. That's clearly where the homeowner thinks these ghosts are coming from, or these haunts in the house. This obviously terrifies Turner and the wife, but Turner's still very happy and gleeful. And it doesn't really sway him because it's more of an urban legend. You don't really buy into it. He doesn't really buy into it at the time. Well, many weeks pass. Turner and the wife go home. Nothing's really come of that. He's really thinking about getting back into zombies. The homeowner in Pennsylvania calls him and says, do you want to come stay at my house? So Turner goes to him and the wife, or to his wife. He goes, let's get out of here. Let's go right now. And they pack up and they plan to go at least for 2 nights, possibly 3. They get to the house. Turner's got that gleeful eye again. He sets up shop at the house. He puts a ball on the dining room table, or the coffee table in the living room. He hears that if a ghost sees a ball, they're like a little boy. They have to play with it. He puts some toilet paper down to mark an X so he can kind of see where the ball is, so there's a defined spot if the ball's been moved. He puts cameras everywhere you can think, possibly everywhere you can think. And night 1 happens. Not much action happens in night 1. We see a lamp turn on, like the video that the homeowner showed him to get him originally to the house. And after that lamp turns on, I don't know, they don't really check that footage yet. So when they wake up in the morning, they're not terrified because that lamp turned on and off in the middle of the night and they didn't see that footage. However, the wife does say the basement door seems cracked open, and I don't think it was cracked open when we went to bed. Well, at this point, Turner goes, he checks the hinge in the door. He sees, well, it could have been blown open. I don't think much happened. Again, he's kind of disappointed. He expects major things. And the door being kind of pushed open, maybe some creaks, maybe some craziness. That he's like, that's not worth flying here and spending 2 or 3 days. I'm not going to get a documentary out of this. He actually says, my documentary is going to be shit if this is all I have is a door swinging open. So, cuts They're setting up night 2. He starts taking this old camera, 16 millimeter lens camera, and he takes these old photos because he heard that sometimes the old-timey cameras can pick up things that modern-day cameras can't. So this footage he's not going to get back for a few months or weeks or months, and he sends it out, and he goes on with day 2. He's setting up for night 2. They do the basic stuff. He's got the basement door completely sealed shut, so he's ready to go. Night 2, I think it's a decent amount of activity. Wakes up to noise. There's smoke. There's a smoke detector going off. There's a lot of loud banging. The basement door's open. He sees that the oven's on and stovetop burners are all on. They call the fire department. He shuts it all off, and he calls the fire department and cancels. At this point, this is a pivotal moment because it's a moment where Turner Clay finally agrees that there's something weird going on here, that he believes in the paranormal. Up to this point in the movie and his life, he has thought it's all bullshit. He said so up to this point in the movie. A door swinging open. He's like, I can explain all that. Nobody turned this oven on. Nobody turned the stovetop of the oven on. Nobody caused all this smoke and the racket and all that. So he buys in now to the Blackwell Ghost. And by the way, fun fact, he doesn't know her name yet. So he just knows there's a ghost. Now, he wakes up day 3. I'm thinking they're probably, I would be terrified. The wife goes to the store, I believe, to go shopping. He is talking to camera, and he spends a lot of time he has to spend the day convincing his wife that they need to stay another night because he's now fully invested. He's doing research. He's calling up the library. He wants news articles from the town. I think he finds something like 4,000 articles. And after 3 hours of research, he finds out that Ruth Blackwell lived in this house, and she killed 7 kids, cut them up into pieces, and put them in that well in the basement. So this urban legend that the owner brought up is now factual. So he is convinced he needs to spend time with this ghost in this house. His wife needs to stay another night. He does not want to do this alone at this specific point. So, wife is convinced to stay a third night. They stay a third night. The wife, there's a ton of activity. Okay, but before I get to that activity, let's back up and say that Turner opens the well. He figures out he's so excited about this well. And in my mind, the sirens are going off in my found footage brain that he kind of needs to get out of there. The activities ramping up. He learns the history. He learns that this is not a good spirit that's in this house so far. So opening up the well where she put her victims, that was pretty sealed shut, doesn't seem like a real fun idea. So he opens it up. He measures the depth with this like string system, and he finds out it's at least 60 feet deep. So now he has an eerie feeling in his belly because he's like, well, this is where they found those children. So like 60 feet, who knows if it was only 7 kids, it's pretty wild. So third night happens. They go to bed. Tons of activity is going on. The power shuts off due to this terrible storm. The neighbor's house and everyone down the block, all their power's fine. So Turner goes, it must be the breaker box. I have to go downstairs and see this breaker box. And he's very, very nervous. The wife goes, just go down there. Don't make me go down there. So he kind of has this like man complex where he goes, no, I can do it. And that was her way of like getting him to get down there and do it. He hears water running in the upstairs bathroom, the kitchen, the downstairs bathroom, and the basement once he gets down there. All the water is running. He sees the kitchen cabinets wide open. He hears banging. He sees all sorts of stuff. So all the major activity that you could think of from movies like Paranormal Activity and the like. He's incorporating all these into the movie, which is, I think, fantastic throughout the film. They really took a micro budget and amplified it, and I'll get more into that after the synopsis. We're almost at the end, I promise. And this is where it gets really good. So he tells his wife to call the cops if she needs to. He heads down to the basement because he needs to get to that breaker box. He sees the breaker box. He flips it on. He flips the breaker that's been shut off on. The wife says, no, still no power, still nothing. He turns camera over, and what does he see? The well is shut. He did shut it earlier, but the ball that he placed on the coffee table in the living room is now sitting dead center on top of the well. He's terrified. All he has is his night vision camera. Sorry, gotta yell at a cat. Stop it, kitty cat. A night vision camera, and I'm leaving that in the episode too. A found footage podcast deserves to have some wackiness in it, I think. Like a cat doing a scratching board and stuff. So he's terrified. He can't see anything. He's yelling at the wife to call the cops. He's upstairs now, and we cut to the morning. Now, here's the beauty of this scene. Because the power went out, Turner Clay, filmmaker, doesn't have to get away with showing how he got the ball to move from the coffee table in the living room to the lowest level of the house onto the well in the basement. I thought that is genius. He was like, maybe I could do it. And if you are a fan of the franchise, you know that he can do it. But in this specific instance, he went, now, power's out. I'm going to have some shit move around and not need to show it. I thought, absolute genius. So he's reviewing the footage in the morning. He and the wife pack up to go home. The end is beautiful. Turner closes with a monologue about the Blackwell Ghost and his connection with the ghost and how he's excited and proud and he doesn't know what the future holds. And the end credits, after credits, and there's not many credits, by the way, because this is a documentary that he's trying to portray it as. There's not many credits. He doesn't have many stars to thank. He doesn't have many actors to thank. So it's mostly him in the film. But the monologue is beautiful, and I really won't recite it. I do think it's worth the watch here. And the end credits show some of the 16 millimeter photos that he took, where he catches glimpses of what he believes to be the Blackwell Ghost. And that's how the movie kind of fades to black. With that being said, man, that's a ton. I know it is. And I tried to keep the synopsis 15 to 20 minutes. The runtime on this movie is I believe about an hour or just under an hour, which I consider to be a perfect length for found footage. You can go a little bit more. When you hit that 2 hour or more mark for a found footage is where you get a lot of dead air time, maybe plot lines that fade out, things like that. I think an hour or less is probably, you're getting right to the point, which is beautiful. As I said, he now has 8 movies. So as I go on the hour or less combo, he sticks around that hour mark throughout the series. So it almost feels like episodes as opposed to these full-length movies. So if you think, 8 parts, oh my gosh. Well, 8 one-hour episodes is more doable than calling it 8 two-hour movies. Also, the story does change a bunch. It does leave the original Blackwell Ghost plot line, even though he sticks with the name just to keep the continuity within his movie franchise. I'm going to go on a scale of 5 here. I thought scale of 10, scale of 5. I was going to give it a 4.5, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to give it a 5. 4.5-ish, maybe a 4.75. It's called a 4.75. I'm going to tell you why it's not a 5. I feel that a 5 would be, for me, obviously this is subjective, perfection. Everything through and through. It's hard to give a 5. I believe the one knock I can give it, the one knock that I feel that they could have did without, and I think he might have put it in, and this is just my opinion, my assumption. I don't know if this is right. I think he might have put it in to make the length hit that hour mark, but the hotel scene in the beginning, I believe he could have started by saying he got the footage from the Pennsylvania house from a family friend or a Facebook friend. He started the movie saying he got the hotel ghost footage from a family friend, and then that plot line fizzled before they get to the Blackwell Ghost. Well, I get it. It was trying to show how he got into it and that he was having trouble. But in the grand scheme of things, I think it doesn't really add to the Blackwell lore that we've come to love if you're a fan of the franchise. But I obviously it doesn't really kill the movie. It's just a part that if I was like, well, if it's not perfect, what could I say? That's the one thing I could say, even though I don't mind that story arc in the beginning. So you're not going to watch this and go, man, I really wish he didn't bring up that hotel in the beginning. I promise you you're not. It's not like that. It's just it doesn't really add to the Blackwell Ghost plot line if you wanted to stick right to it. Anyways, it's under an hour. It's at the 59-minute mark, even with that added plot line. So it doesn't really hurt anything. Now, this is the exciting part. Synopsis done. You guys ready? I'm getting into my fun facts. This is so cool. And by the way, on episode length, I have no idea. I was thinking an hour. It might be less than an hour. The movie was an hour. So if you have a review of it that's as long as the movie, there might be a problem with me. Well, there is a problem with me, but it doesn't matter. All right. Fun fact number 1. Turner Clay did not want to make a series. He wanted to make a one and done. In the limited interviews that he's given about the series, he said he wanted to just make one. He only kept going with it because the fans loved it. Also, Turner Clay, this might be fun fact number 2 or maybe part B, Turner Clay might not be his real name. It's a pseudonym. We can't find much on him at all. If you Google Turner Clay, this movie will come up, and maybe some of the zombie films, which he actually did, will come up from prior to Blackwell Ghost. There is no direct Facebook link of Turner Clay, Instagram. There's fake things you can find, but you can't find much on him or his wife. Fun fact number 3, he was inspired by Blair Witch Project, the Blair Witch Project, and Lake Mungo. He loves the hauntingly mundane, which if you watch this movie, this fits that category perfectly. If you're a fan of Blair Witch, Lake Mungo, which are films I'll probably talk about in the future, this movie fits that mold perfectly. Many hidden moments. Fun fact number 4, many hidden moments. You can have a scavenger hunt for these moments. I actually noted in my notes, scavenger hunt. He purposely put these moments in for people to find. So here's scavenger hunt part number 1. Night number 1, there is a moving shadow near the stairs. Okay? Night number 1, moving shadow near the stairs. There is also a strange reflection in the kitchen glass on the sliding doors when he walks by. Also during night 1 and probably night 2, but night 2 and 3 might be limited because of how loud it was in the house. In night 1, you can hear faint moaning during the night if you have your volume up. Those are all my fun facts. I guess my last fun fact is that online, it's iffy if his wife in the movie, Terry, is his real wife. She might be an actress. There's no her real name is Terry. Her last name is not Clay. But her real name in the IMDb and all that is Terry. But it's not for sure if that's his real wife or not. And I'm not diving into any more spoilers beyond that after movie 1. But if you're a fan of the show, you'll know why she becomes very valuable moving forward too. I have some tips for you to watch this movie. fun Scotty tips. Ready for this? Obviously, watch this one at night. All the scary stuff that you see going on happens at night. It's fun to watch it at night. iPad or phone, tablet, something with headphones. That's my advice. I've watched it on the TV twice, and on my phone, I believe twice on my phone with headphones. And the phone was 100% better. You hear stuff. You hear the little creaks and moans. You see the shadows better. You're looking deeper. You're invested. I prefer the phone for it, or tablet if you like that. Lastly, turn your brightness up on the screen. You'll see more of the shadow things that I'm talking about. The subtleties that Turner Clay put in here for a reason. Anything that you see that's weird, I promise you he did it for a reason. This guy, his movie background, his directing background, creating background, definitely shines through in this movie. There's no way you can hide that. The dude knows what he's doing. He took a budget of probably nothing, almost nothing, other than this sweet equipment he has from previous experiences and stuff, I'm sure, plus this movie. He did it with very limited budget and friends and family that he knows. There's not much as far as CGI or anything like that. And I would say if something feels weird in the movie, it is weird, and it's supposed to be weird. That's a guarantee. Overall, like I said, let's give it a 4.75 out of 5. This movie's fucking awesome. It's one of my favorites. It reminds me of fall because I first watched it in the fall. It gives me that warm feeling. The movie starts and you see the leaves change and he says winter's coming. Man, Turner Clay is a fantastic lead. If I could handpick a lead for a found footage horror movie, it would be a dude like him. He's interested in the scary shit. It's not really throwing him off, and he's the everyday guy. He doesn't know what he's doing, and he's just giving it a go, and it's a fantastic film. And you can really get invested with this. It's so good. It's definitely one that got me out of a fall funk, I'd say, with depression, anxiety, all that stuff. This movie kind of started a new renaissance for me and what I felt about art and movies moving forward. Definitely a motivator to start things like this podcast. So many flowers to this movie. This movie's getting a lot of props across the found footage world. The people who I would think will say they dislike it would be people who want a ton of gore. If you want gore and things like that, this is not going to be your film. If you want psychological Blair Witch style subtleties, this is your cup of tea, dudes and dudettes. I promise you, this one's for you. Thank you so much, guys. What am I at? 30 minutes or so. You guys are, thanks for hanging out with me. Like I said, the community's unreal. The Facebook community's unreal. Instagram community that I'm learning about, it's unreal. There's Discords. There's all kinds of stuff that I'm learning about. There's people that I'm meeting. There's new friends that I'm meeting. There's it's just the community. I can't state it enough. If you are someone who's struggling and you feel like an outcast or oddball, I'm telling you, look up found footage groups, look up horror movie groups, look up if you're into that stuff too. Maybe I should state that. Get with people that are like-minded with you. You know, you're not alone in anything you're doing. If you think something you like is weird, I promise you there's a group out there for you. And I'll leave it at that. That's my PSA of the episode. My next episode, I'm not sure if it's going to be next week. I'm hoping for episode 3. This might push to episode 4. We'll see. I want to bring on my first guest. This is going to be so awesome. I have plans. I'm not going to announce who it is yet. It is a movie director, movie creator. It is a found footage movie, obviously, found footage horror movie. I'm so excited to bring them on and talk to me. And man, it's a blessing to get to be able to do this, and I appreciate you. And thank you so much, guys. I'll see you next episode. Check out Blackwell Ghost. Let's go. For number 1 is free. Prime Video, Tubi, Found TV, you name it, it's probably there. All the other ones are paid, but they're limited. If you love it, and limited by, I'm saying like $1 or $2, Amazon Prime, things of that nature. If you love the first movie, I promise you it's worth it to watch all 8. That being said, guys, this is it. Let's get out there and find some footage. Peace.